evening and welcome to another session of the data science track of the Niger Youth Drive 2025 digital skills training, sponsored by IHS Towers and implemented by OVL Foundation and Kratos Sustainability Consults Limited. My name is Abayomi and I'm joining you from NASA 84 Labs. It's a pleasure to have you on board this evening. In the past few classes, we've been exploring Python programming, understanding variables, data type, and we list dictionaries, and we moved a bit further by learning numerical Python, which is a NumPy, and we were able to see its application when it comes to numerical computation alongside Python programming. So I believe we were able to have a walkthrough on our assignments, and I must confess we were all done right. So how many of us were able to tackle the assignments where we were asked to create a NumPy array of your choice of any given dimension using your NumPy array, and then you perform the 6 operations listed below? So how many of us were able to tackle that? How many of us?
I did.
Okay, you did, Aaron. All right, that's excellent. Okay, I'm sure some persons also did and shared feedback on the group chat. Okay, so Aaron, would you love to walk us through your solution? Are you currently joining with your PC?
Okay, let me find a way to call it up.
Okay, so just in about under 5 minutes, you should be able to do that. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay, just hold on, please.
Okay. All right, so how many of us were also able to do that aside from Aaron? So like I mentioned, we are all here to learn from each other, okay? I could go ahead and explain right now, but it's important that we see that, okay, what's your own point of view to this solution and how we can see that we make it look much more good and better. Oh, Aaron, I think your screen is yet to come up, so
Yes, I'm coming, please.
let me continue from here because of time and we need to get a lot to do this evening, maybe later on. So let me just read through. So your assignment is to create a NumPy array, and please note, when you want to work on this assignment, I would advise you create a copy of the notebook, okay, on your drive. So how do you do that? All you just need to do is click on file, then you see save a copy in drive, okay, or you create a new notebook. So it's best you create a new notebook so you can use that as your assignment notebook, okay? So click on create a new notebook in drive, and then you can solve your questions, okay? So select all rules. The first thing first that you need to do is what? You install your library, okay? So you do what? You install your NumPy library. So after you've confirmed that the library has
Sorry,
been
sir.
installed,
Sorry, sir. Please, I'm just joining this class for the first time. And which application are we using for this, sir? Sorry.
okay, welcome Boluwatife Adelowo. All right, so welcome to the Python class. We're using Google Colab for our data science class, okay? So I'm sure you're on the WhatsApp group chat, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so check the group description so you can come up to speed, okay? So once you check the group
All right.
description, you would see a link to a document, then check through. Okay,
All right.
so we are
All right.
currently using Google Colab. Just go to Google, search for Google Colab, you open a new notebook, and then you continue your work. All right, so having installed the NumPy library, then the next thing to do is what? You proceed to import your library. Okay, so here you do what? You say import libraries. Okay, so which is your import numpy as np. Okay, import the numerical python as np. So this is the alias. All right, so we have to create numpy array of our choice. So we decided to create this, which is L. Then we converted it to what? So an array. So an array. Then we printed the array. So that's the first thing you need to do. First, create your numpy array. Then having done that, you proceed to select all the rows and columns. And from the previous class, we delved into how a column is and how the location for the column and the row, where we're talking about indexing and slicing. Okay, so now if you should do your X, which is your array now, then you have your square brackets, column, comma, column. This gives you everything in full. Okay, then if you proceed to say, okay, you want to select the last column. All right, you recall this is what? 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is what? 3. Okay, so if I should run this, let me run this to memory. So recall you need to run it, it's stepwise. Okay, so you can see I have what? 917, because the first index is what? 0, this is column 1, column 2, and then column 3. However, if I want to use the negative, okay, as I want to move from my right towards my left, then this column will be what? -1, then this will be -2. So if I should comment this and uncomment the one at the top here and I run it, you'd see I still have the same result, which is 917. So to select the last column, X, then column, which is select all the rows, comma, and then the column you want to select. Okay, so the next one, it says select the third row only, which is 0, 1, 2, right? So how do you select the third row only? You can do that by saying for the third row only 0, 1, 2, comma, this. So you can see the third row, which is 4, -2, 3, and 7. That is what? The third row. So I have to select the third row, which is index 2, and then everything, all the columns were selected. Okay, so we can go through and even bring up more questions from there. Okay, so let me just proceed to what we have for today. So today we'll be exploring pandas. Pandas. Okay, so how many of us have heard of pandas before now? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I should zoom in a bit. All right, so please, in case if you have any questions or more, always you can unmute, provided your background is not noisy. Hope it's fine this way. I need feedback.
Yes.
Is it fine? I'm unable to hear you clearly.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we've worked on NumPy, numerical Python. Yeah, we're coming to pandas. Okay, so what is pandas used for? Pandas is a data manipulation library built on Python. Okay, so consider your Excel now. I mean, your spreadsheets, how everything is being arranged in rows and columns, looks like a table. Okay, or your SQL, which is structured query language. So the variant here now in Python is the pandas. So the pandas is a framework that is used for interacting with your tabular data. So you have a tabular data now, you have rows and columns. How do you perform data cleaning? How do you manipulate the data? How do you tend to generate new features or another column based on existing columns or fields? Okay, so with pandas we're able to do that. However, there are other libraries as well that you can use aside from Pandas. Okay, but the scope of this class would be based on Pandas. Okay, so for other libraries, I'll leave that to you so you can read up and learn more. Okay, so now we're also going to follow the same step for the Pandas as well. Recall when we wanted to work with our NumPy, we had to first of all do what? We had to first of all install the package. Then from there, we imported the package and then we began to what? Use it for our operations. Okay, so let me share this tab. So last time I walked us through documentation. So all you just need to do is just search for Pandas. Okay, you can see Pandas documentation. So let me open that. Okay, so yeah, I have Pandas documentation. The version is 2.3.1. Okay, so it's coming up. All right, okay, so the last date this documentation was updated is July 7, 2025, and the version is 2.3.1. Okay, all right, so here we are on the documentation page. So how do we get to make use of it? What's the user guide? So let me click on this. All right, so this is it. You have a link here, 10 minutes to Pandas. Okay, that's if you do not have basic knowledge of Pandas before. So how do you use Pandas? You can see import Pandas as PD. So for Pandas, the conventional alias is PD, just as we have for NumPy as what? NP. However, you can decide to give it any alias of your choice, but please try to remember what you used in denoting it. Okay, do we have a question from you? Please stay muted.
Okay, you said.
All right, you can unmute and speak.
Okay, you said the alias is PD, meaning can
Yes.
I use another thing?
Yes, it's up
Like
to
I
you.
use, can I use like a PA or PS
It's up to
or
you.
AS? Okay, let's say I am working uh on a project with others,
Okay.
then I use a particular alias which is not
Right.
known to them. Would they be able to understand it, or I must use the conventional one, which is PD or NP for
All right.
NumPy?
So, at the beginning of your code, okay, there is what we call the library importation. Okay. So that is where you are going to define everything you are working with. So like your first cell, you can say, okay, import libraries. So you say import pandas as PS. So when they are reading through your code and they begin to see you do ps.dataframe, like we have here. So at the very beginning, you've already referenced it. So the person won't have what? An issue understanding your code. So far, you've clearly defined it. You might put a note there and say, okay, here, the alias for my pandas is PS. So it depends on you. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay. So here we go. So let me see if I can search from say install. So you can see the installation. It says installation. Okay. So how do you get to install pandas? All right. So Python version supports 3.9, 3.10, 3.11. So if you want to install on Miniconda, you go this way. You activate your virtual environment. Okay. And if you want to install from PyPI, okay, you do pip install pandas. However, note that your pip must be greater than or equal to version 19.3. So we'll be working with this pip install pandas. So coming back here, I have my exclamation mark pip install pandas. I run it. and then it says, oh, the requirement has already been what? Satisfied. Okay, next is for us to what? Import our library. So this is very, very important. Import what? Library. Said import pandas as PD. You run it to memory. Okay, so now in pandas, for its data structures, we have what we call the series as well as the data frames. Series and data frames. So here right now we have a list called L, right? And then we said, oh, we want to create an H data, which will be a pandas module here now. We said dot the series. So please always take notes of these modules. Okay, series starts with capital S as well as data frame. It has a capital D and a F, capital F. We'll still get there. So now we say pd.series, we have our L, which is our list, and then we want to give it a name. The name of that column is going to be what? Age. So let's run this now. You would see I have my series now converted to a what? I have my series here. So in case if I should remove this age now and just say, okay, I have a series only. So can you see what I have? I just have this, but with the presence of the name, you can see it makes sense right now. The name is age, and then it gives me index 0, then row 0, 10, so index 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, as long as you can have it. Okay, so now we've created a series for age. Let's also proceed to series of places. So you also follow through with the same step. So you have your list and you create your series. It's a pd.series. So for instance, Arun was requesting, if I have my pandas as ps now, okay, let me say import pandas as ps. Okay, let me run this to memory. So and then I come here, I change this pd to ps and I run it. So can you see I got my result? Okay, hello, are we there?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right. Okay, so in case, all you just need to do is ensure you define your alias very well. So let me change this back to pd. So you can see now I've changed this to pd. This is highlighted, it's saying it's not what is not defined. Okay, then let me do this back to pd, and then we're good to go. All right, so now moving forward, we've taken a look at series. The next is data frames. So what are data frames? So data frame is just like a multiplication, yeah, or more addition of what you call the series. So the series is like a standalone, a single column, while the addition of several series, the addition of multiple series is what we call the data frame. Okay, so we want to create a data frame that takes the information of all students in a GS1 school in Nigeria. So the data frame is going to have the age, name, height, weight, state of origin, their score, and their gender. So we'll be having a data frame come up here right now. So how do you create this data frame? Let me show you how. So first thing first, you create your data. You say your data equals to, you open your curly braces. Okay, then you give space. Now inside this your curly braces, now you define the header, which is name, and you say name as a list. So for those of us on the call this evening, okay, please always um on mute when you see maybe I have a pause, okay, because I'm unable to be switching screens to see who is raising their hands or not.
All right.
So Aaron, you
Sorry.
have the floor.
Okay. Just the dentation I want to comment on. How do you know when to use curly braces, square, and the normal brackets?
Okay, all right, so let me bring a representation. So you were mentioning about this, right? Then this, right? Is it these three items you were mentioning, Aaron?
Yes,
You're
yes,
mentioning.
yes.
Okay, Aaron, question. Okay, so for this in Python, this is a, if you want to work with a dictionary, okay? If you want to work with a dictionary, and then this is used to denote a list. And then this is for your tuple, okay? So depending on the scope of work you want to do, then you'll be able to pick the exact one you want to work with, okay? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So for dictionary now, that contains what? Keys and value, right? We can always check through our first the earlier classes. This contains a what? A key and a value. So for the key, and then the value can now be in form of a list. So that is what we are trying to create here. We want to create a dictionary that holds the key. Here would be what? Would be the name, and then the value will now be what we have on the list. Okay, then for your list now, that one is just a list of items. List of items. Okay, then we also have the tuple, which is your sets. Okay, remember your sets, set of empty objects, set of new objects. So depending on the scope of work you want to do, that is when you'll be able to know the type of brackets, like you mentioned, that you'll be using. Okay, so here we want to create a data such that, oh, for students in GSS1, so we know that, okay, here we would have a key that we can use to access the name of the student, which is our list. Then you work on. I hope it's clear.
Yep, yep, yep.
All right, so Oluseyi Akinlabi, do you have questions?
No, I don't have question. Well, I'm just good evening, sir. I'm
Okay,
just
all
doing it
right.
tonight. I can't have question. Because I don't understand much of things. I'm just doing it tonight.
Okay, no issues then. Please check the group description and follow up. How about Rachel George?
I don't have a question, sir.
Okay, no issues. So let's push. Okay, so yeah, we want to create a data frame. We've mentioned the key, and then for this now, we would say, let me just pick like 2 or 3 persons. Okay, the first set of people that came in were Moramolua, Mahmoud, and Harun. Okay, so Moramolu. Please, am I permitted to use your name before you come and hand me a suit now? Can I proceed now?
Yes,
Hello, am I?
please.
Oh, I'm not getting consent from the others. So let me collect their names off here.
Yes, proceed.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We need to be wary of lawsuits these days. Okay. So we said so this is the first one. Then I want to proceed with the age. Then I would also create a list and say let me just say 10, 11, 12. Okay, then I have the next one, which should now be, say, gender, because I wouldn't be creating much. You can always do this later. So here is my list again. Then I say, oh, Ramolua is a female. Then Mahmoud and Aaron are male. As at the last time I checked the names of people behind Mahmoud. Hope I'm correct. If I'm not, let me know.
From my end, you are correct.
All right. Thank you. So you can just close up this space. Okay. So for indenting sake, so you can know where you stopped. All right. So how do we convert this to a data frame? So you can just say Niger youths info equals to. Is somebody noticing something?
We're using
Hello.
underscore.
You are seeing underscore. Okay, aside from the underscore, what else are you seeing? Did you notice anything on my screen? Did you notice anything? Like something being underlined?
Niger info is because it's a new what was it called? Word that has not been assigned for now. That is why it's being underlined.
Are you trying to say
Okay.
variable?
So now you are assigning this data you just create now to Niger info to come
Okay.
in a data frame pattern instead of a series.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, however, let the error speak for itself. So let me just say, let the error speak for itself now. I want you to pick up something. So now, yeah, it says there's a syntax error. It says invalid imaginary literal. What does that mean? So when you are declaring your variables, your variable cannot start with a number.
Yeah, with a number.
Okay, so that was why I decided to say let me proceed first, and then we check where the error is. Okay, so I hope you've been able to add one or two lessons this evening. So now,
We can add n there instead of 9.
so let's do Nija now. However, your numbers can come in the middle. Okay, so on running this now, so can you see that this runs successfully? So put that at the left, on your left palm, and don't use it to hit. Your variable declaration cannot start with a number.
A number.
Okay. All right, so we've been able to come up with a data frame, and now we're able to do that is we call the Pandas library, and then we call the what? The data frame function. So please note the data frame, D in capital letter, then you have your small letter ATE, then F in capital letter. If I should do the other way around, these are very, very important. Okay, is it gonna run? It says module pandas has no attribute data frame. If I should say capital D, it's still not gonna go through. So let's understand the case sensitivity nature of these modules. Okay, all right. So moving on, if we want to generate uh, details, I mean information about the data set, how do we do that? All we need to do is just call the .info, the .info Okay, I say nigeryouth.info. Okay, so now this .info gives us a whiteboard of information about the data. First thing you can see says the data, it's as a class pandas data frame, and then the range index it has 3 entries, and the index is from what, 0 to 2, which is all you are seeing here, 0, 1, and 2. There is the data columns has what, a total of 3 columns: column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay, now we have this is index, then followed by column, and then we have non-null count. Can someone tell me what they understand by the term non-null?
No,
Hello.
no,
Non,
meaning
yeah,
there is no empty space.
there is no empty. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone wants to shoot their shot? Please tell us your name, where you're joining from, and then you answer. Okay, so we can know who is speaking part time.
Okay, the last speaker was Harun from Delta Worry.
Okay, thank you, Arun. Who is going again? No one. Okay, so just as Arun mentioned, non-null means not empty. Okay, count. Then because our data here, everything is what is filled up. You can see there is no missing value here. Okay, that is why you can see that what it's filled up and no missing value. However, in the real space data set timeline, you would need to work with data sets that contains null values, empty rows, and all. So when you get there, you know how to undo them. And then the data type here now is telling us that the name is an object, which is a string. Then the age is what, integer 64. That is, it's a whole number. Then the gender is text. That is, it's an object. When it comes to grouping of the data types now, integer 64 has only one column. Then object, which is your string, has what, 2 columns, and the memory usage is 204 plus bytes. Okay, I hope you've gotten a very good understanding of the .info method on our data set. Moving forward, how do we get to generate summary statistics such as your mean, your median, your mode, 25th percentile, and all? So this works for numerical columns. Okay, so calling this on Niger Youth Info now. When I run this, so you can see it only picked for the age only. So the count, how many rows do we have? 3 rows. What's the mean? We call our data set. We have 10, 11, and 12. So 10 plus 11, 20 what?
21. Everything is
21 plus
33.
12, 33 divided by 3.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
So that's how we
11.
got this. Thank you.
Okay.
Then our
Okay.
standard deviation, if you apply your standard deviation formula, you get the value. And then the minimum value, you have 10, 11, and 12, right? So the
Mm.
minimum value is what? Is 10. The maximum here is what? Is 12. So let's proceed. So you can see maximum. If we take a look at the 25th percentile, 10.5, the 50th, which is the middle, 11, and then 75th, 11.5. Okay. So this dot describe method helps you to gain summary what statistics on the numeric columns. Okay, so let me, I think, okay, they have about 3 columns here. Let me run this to memory, and I mean the earlier just one info. So let's play around that now. Let's take a look at the summary here. So you can see for age, height, and score. Let me scroll up a little. So name, age, height, state of origin, score, and gender. So you can see it has what? 3 numeric columns, and then 3 object columns. How do we get to see that? Let's do the dot info. Let's generate that. So you can see it says float is 2, integer is 1, and then object is what? Is 3. Float in the terms of, recall we mentioned that floats are what? Numbers with decimal place to decimal place, while the integer are just what? Whole numbers. So age is a what? Is a whole number, and height at decimal place, and then score is what? To decimal place. Okay, so moving on, our summary statistics gave what? gs1 student.info, gs1 student info.describe gave us this. Now you have your, let me print the data here. You have this data set right now. If you want to see the top records, so for the top records, the default number of values to be shown is set as 5. So what you need to do is call the head method. You say JS1, you call your data frame dot head. Okay, so the default for this is 5. Take a look at it when I run it now. You would say I have what? Only 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, if I want to view the first 3 or first 2 records, all I just need to do is just put 2 here and run it. So you can see I have the first 2, which is Adebayo and Harun, the first 2 records. And if you want to view the last, I mean the bottom records now, all you need to do is call the tail method. Okay, so you say JS1 student info dot tail, and then you put the number of rows you want to see. Then you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is starting from here 1, 2, 3, 4, just to confirm. So these are the last 4 records. Okay, have we got any question?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, so moving on, we've explored the Pandas library, how to create a series, how to create a data frame. Now we've taken a look at exploring our methods, the describe, the info, the viewing the top records and the bottom records. Now, how do you specify a particular column? Okay, how do you specify a particular column? So to specify a particular column, all you need to do is just bring up your data frame name, and then you have your square brackets. Okay, you have square brackets, and then you have the name of the particular column you want to call. Okay, so you can see this only selected what? The age column. So if I just say, okay, I want to select gender now. Let me change this to gender. I say, okay, give me gender. So you can see it returned only what? Only the gender column here. So that's for a column only. So if you want to specify multiple, okay, we'll still get there. So if you want to call the state of origin column, just do the same way. However, if you want to do this, just do the data frame and then the name of that particular column. Okay, so another way is this. Let me see. Dot h. Okay, so another way to call the column name is this one I just did here. However, this only works for if the column header does not have spaces. Okay, recall, yeah, age standing alone, height is standing alone, state of origin is not what? Is not standing alone, so it won't work for something like this. Okay, so if I should bring it here now, say let me call it. So if I should run this, you see it's giving me what? Invalid syntax. So that's why it's important when you want to run stuff like this, you bring in the notation, then you run it this way. Okay. Moving forward, if you want to call the column names, all you just need to do is your df dot columns. This is going to print your what? Your column. Here we have name, age, height, state of origin, score, and then gender. Okay. Now you've been able to see how to select one column only. In cases whereby you need to select more columns, how do you proceed with more columns? You do that by having a double bracket now. Recall earlier here, we're having just what? A single bracket because we wanted to select one particular column. You have your data frame and then the column name. So here you would have multiple brackets. Okay. So on running this, you can see it returned age, height, and score. Okay. So in case you are wondering, why are we doing multiple brackets? Let's see for ourselves. Let's remove. So can you see what it says? It says we have a list like key. If we have a list like key, check indexing error will raise a key error. Okay. So how do we correct that? Is to ensure that what we have the double square brackets. So this is the convention that you will use in selecting multiple columns at a time in Python. Now with Pandas, you can also perform some arithmetic operations, which include your sum, mean, minimum, maximum, and all. So let's take a look at if we want to calculate the sum of all the ages here. Okay, so you would have to append a method now, that is add a method to it. So we are saying, okay, print gs1 student, who is our data frame name, the age, and then the sum dot sum. You open your bracket and close it. Then the total age here is what? Is 78. Okay, so we recall this is applied to numeric columns. Okay, arithmetic operations now. Then going on, if you say, okay, you want to check out the sum, the mean, and then the minimum value of the age, you can see we have to what? Say age sum, data frame, specify the column name, dot sum. For mean, you appended dot mean. For dot minimum, you appended dot mean, min. So here now, we want to print the result. Okay, so instead of having it in multi-line, let me uncomment this. You are writing it multiple line and say print, this is the mean age, print, this is the sum of ages. Let's run this. So the mean of this is the mean age 11.14. Then we have this is the sum of the ages 78. So we have what we call string formatting here. So how many of us have seen this before? We call this string formatting. So how do you do string formatting? So when you have your print statement, you had your f. Okay, that is, you want to say, okay, I want you to format. Then you say this is the mean age. Then you introduce a what? Your curly braces now, referencing the variable you close it, and then it will be in your what? In your bracket here. So this way, it's gonna be formatting it. So what you have as the mean age here will be what will be what will be represented here. So you can see this is the mean age, 11.14. Then for the sum of the ages, you'd have this. So if I should uncomment this, so you can see it says the mean result, mean age, comma, sum result is 78, and minimum result, which is minimum age here, for the ages all align. Okay, do we have any questions? Can we move on?
This we warrant practice. Always practice to keep your breath.
That is very, very important. You can't just say, oh, you're gonna learn it at a go. You need to practice. Okay. All right. So now, when we were talking about getting values from a particular column, the degree of occurrence, and how we make use of the value counts. Okay, so there are a whole lot of them. Okay, so the value count now returns a series containing the frequency of the distinct row in the data frame. So you have your data frame, you call dot value count on it. Okay, so here right now for gender, notice that we have what? Gender and then female. So how many times does gender appear? How many times does female appear? It's going to give us the count. So let me come up here. Where's our data sets? Here's the full one. Okay, so here is our full data set. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 males and what? 3 females. Okay, so instead of you to be counting manually, you can see what dot value count has done for us. Is God not good? Is that not good? No feedback?
It's good, sir.
Okay. I thought my audience has gone home, so we can close shop. All right, so let's move on. Now, we've taken a look at value counts. So, however, it also has some parameters embedded in it. So here we have our normalize equals to true. What does the normalize does? So when you say normalize, that means you want to see it in percentage. Okay, so if you do 4 divided by 7, what do you have? 4 divided by 7. I'm pressing calculator here, but let's use Python. So 4 over 7, what will it give you? You can see 0.57. Okay, 0.57. So that is what you have here. And then for female, you do 3 over 7, then you get what? 0.42. So if you sum them together, you would have your 100 what? Percent, which is the proportion that it appears in what? In the column. Okay, so now moving on, you want to say, oh, this my value count, I don't want to see it in this format. I want it to appear in sort of a percentage, and I want it to be rounded up. Okay, so let me break this down. This that you have here. So this first one here, I'm sure you know, you understand it up to this point, right? Let me comment this.
Yes.
All right. So want to check for the value count in state of origin now. Ogun, Kano, Ebonyi, Kwara, and Adamawa. Understand up to this point. So let me add the next one now. So I want to say multiply by 100. So let me use the print now. Then let's run it. So now you can see 100 has been multiplied to it, which is what? 42.857. Or let me just bring it up so we can see the progression we are making.
Mm.
So it's gonna be clear. So we run this first. This gave us what? 0.42857 1. Now we said okay, let's add 100 to it. Then it gave us what? This is 1 2. So we have 42.85713. However, we want to see this result in 2 decimal place. Okay, so what do? We would append what? Dot round, and then we specify the number of we want to see. So let me bring this because it's step by step. So dot round, so I bring dot round to it again. Now I'm running this now. Can you see what I have? Oh, I didn't add my 100. Sorry. Dot round to 2 decimal place. Where am I having error? Okay, I need to close this bracket so you can see how brackets are now bracketing now. So this one has to be double. Let me run this now. So you can see how it's a long thing. So it's better you break your code line by line. Okay. So now you can see from here now we have 42.85. Now this is what? It has ended up to 2 decimal place. Now 42.86. Then this is 14.29. Okay, so if I should say, okay, give me to 4 decimal place, that is what I have, 8571, like a 4-figure table. Okay. All right. So do we have any question, any comments? Let's talk. Let's hear from you. We spent about an hour now. Let's hear from you guys. Hello. Am I performing magic?
It's not magic. Oh, we are just looking and watching, and it's going freely, thinking we understand it. But maybe we perform and now we have issues. But I just pray we keep practicing to understand it deep.
Okay, so when it comes to data science, data analytics, or any field, practice makes perfect. Okay, so the first time just look at it, try to mirror, try to sync with it. Then as you proceed, it gets easy and easy. Okay, so Olajide Abisola, how is it going? Oops. When I called Olajide, is it the network? Hello, Olajide Abisola. Hello.
Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
How is learning going at your end?
I was having network and just joined the
Okay.
classes.
All right. So sorry about that. Okay.
Please,
Okay.
hope I will be able to get the voice record. I'll be able to go back and join the class. Because right now,
Okay. All right. Okay. So moving forward now, how do we work with existing data? Okay. So how do we work with existing data? How do we get to see, oh, I have my data set in Excel format. How do I bring it into Python? How do I begin my data manipulation? Okay. So first thing first, let's explore the documentation. Okay. So let me see this getting started tutorial. How do I read and write tabular data? Okay. So can we see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello. All right. Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing you to the documentation is so that you can see that, okay, it's not that you need to put all these in your head, but you can always consult documentation. The user guide is always there to assist. Okay, so now how do we read and write tabular data? So now what we want to do is we want to load data sets. Can be in CSV format, Excel format, package, HTML, HDF5, JSON, GBQ, Google BigQuery, or SQL, or any other file, name it. How do you turn it to a what? A tabular data. And then once you are done transforming it, you might need to also convert it back into a file format again. Okay, so we've already imported our pandas as PD. Then if you want to read it, you call pandas dot read then underscore. What's the type of file you want to read? So in the example below here, they worked with the Titanic passenger data. They had to do what? PD dot read underscore CSV. Then they opened the brackets. They added the file path for this. Okay. So if it were to be for Excel now, you do pd.read underscore Excel, and then you add the file path. Okay, so we can always explore this later on. So let's get back to our business here. Okay, so you'll notice here I have a file path saying content, sample data, California housing test. How do we get this? So on Google Colab, this data set is readily available. And to access it, all you need to do is come to the file manager here, these files, click on file. So you can see I have a folder here, says what? Sample data. As you click on sample data, it expands. And then I have these anscomb.json. I have California housing test, the train file, the MNIST test and train file here as well. So let's say I want to work with the train, right? And click on copy path. Okay, copy path. So I can say file path equals. So when you're defining your file path, it is very, very important that you add your inverted comma. Okay, then so I've defined my file path this way. Okay, now you need to run this to memory. So having defined this file path to memory now, you call your data frame. So your data frame can be given any name, but please ensure you give it a very sensible or logical name while you are writing. Okay, so I say I have my df, which is the short form of data frame, equals to, note the file type here is a what? Is a CSV file, that is comma separated value file. I'll say okay, pd equals to pd dot read underscore csv. And for read underscore CSV, if you take a look at the function, it has a whole lot of parameters to take in. So, but we wouldn't be looking into that right now. So if you scroll down to the documentation, you should see how you can use it. So the first thing first here is what? The file path or the buffer. So we specify the file path. So now I've already specified the file path here, so I can just say pd.read underscore csv and then add my file path. And then this next line is to print the first 5 rows. Okay, run this. So I'm running this now. Call this import datasets, and then this print first 5 rows. Okay, so here now you can see I have my my column, longitude, latitude, housing median, total rows, total bedrooms, population, household, median income, median house value. This is the first 5 rows in the data set. So if I should proceed and say, oops, how can I want to see what exactly is about this data set. So let's add those methods we learned earlier. So df dot info, right? I want to get a holistic view about the data set. So here it says, oh, this data set has 17,000 what entries, and the range of the index number is what? Is 0 to 16,999. Okay, so that is 0 to 16,999 gives you what? Gives you
17,000.
17,000. All right. So, and then for each of the columns now, you can see column longitude, latitude, housing median says 17,000 non-empty rows. All the columns contain 17,000 non-empty rows. Okay. And then the data type present here, you can see everything is what is a floating point. So that's why you see it as what float 64 here is what is 9. Okay. I hope that's cool.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so let's explore another method. So which other method can we explore? Let's take a look at the last 5 rows. Let me say print the last 5 rows. That will be what? Dot tail. Print the bottom 5
So head will
rows.
give you the first 5.
Yes.
Tail will give you the last 5.
Yes. So you can see the index that we saw here in our shape. So it's telling me that what this is 16,999. Okay, so and then if you want to see the shape of your data set, that is how many rows, how many columns does it has. So just call this dot shape, and then to show you rows is what 17,000, and then columns is 9. Is it becoming much more interesting? Hello.
Yes, we are here. Oh.
All right. So which other method can we apply?
I'm still trying to understand. I'm still trying to understand the first part of it.
Okay, so which
See,
parts?
no. You can continue. You can continue. I'm doing my own
All right.
personal, like
Okay.
from Panda, the series part. I want
Okay,
to
no
be
issues.
sure I can start doing it myself without looking any material.
Okay, that comes with sufficient practice though. So keep pushing. All right. So if you want to load the MNIST test data set that we have here, okay, so all you just need to do is specify your file path. Then you import it. Then you have data.ed. So let me run this. Let's see what we have. So you can see this one has 5 rows, 785 columns. So it has 785 what columns, and then we are having what the first 5 rows. So if I should change this head to 10 now, see what it's gonna give me. You can see it gave me what 10 rows and then the total columns. Okay. All right. So here you've got an assignment. You have a scenario. The Niger Youth Drive contains 10 students with certain information. You are unable to what? You are to decide on the information that you would want to make use of, at least 6. Okay. Then perform similar operations like we did earlier on. Okay. And go further if possible. So a hint has been given to you. Use data frame, not series. So here now we are looking at how you're going to generate your data set, convert it into a what? Into a Pandas data frame, and then make good use of it. So this is where we're going to call it an evening. The floor is open for questions. So we've considered Python this evening and seen how fantastic it is used for data manipulation. Okay, question time.
Would anybody have a question by this time? Yeah, good
Please,
evening.
you can get closer to your microphone so we can hear you better. Tell us your name.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Olajide. This is Olajide Abdullah.
Okay, Olajide.
Yeah, I actually came late to the class. That was because we were having issue with our electricity blackout in Ogun State for the past 3 days now since on Monday evening. So please, can I get the voice note of this class? Like, can we get it so that I'll be able to catch up what I've lost? I'm not even happy. Please, can I get the voice notes? Like, can we get the voice notes? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Abisola. So sorry to hear about the power issue in your location. So we are currently working on the recording. So kindly bear with us. You get updated shortly. Okay? So
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for this brilliant presentation this evening. It was actually worthwhile. We'll keep learning and practicing until we get to memorize all the pattern. Good night, everyone.
Good night, sir.
Nice.